Good day, everyone. Welcome to Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 86, season 4. Today's date is December 11th, 2021. And today's show will do something special. Yesterday we found out about the death of Michael Nesmith on the Monkees. I will discuss him and my memories of watching the show, and also discuss Christmas window displays at department stores in Chicago. Okay, right now the program will go into a commercial break, and this program is brought to you by Borden's Eggnog. And here's a commercial from late 1950s, early 60s. Enjoy, everybody. Thank you.
It's holiday time, and Beauregard cries, "Hey, look, there's a snowman ringing our doorbell." And Elsie says, "That's no snowman. It's Elmer with a surprise." Borden's Eggnog, the extra special holiday drink. Borden's, very big on flavor.
Wow, Borden's Eggnog. Now we can have a party.
Borden's Eggnog is the delicious holiday treat the whole family loves, right from the carton. It's made with lots of eggs, milk, and real sweet cream. Rich and creamy, better than the best milkshake you ever tasted. Borden's, very big on flavor. This is the only time of year you can get it. So ask Mom for Borden's Eggnog today.
So buy Borden's, very big on flavor.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
All right, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial for Borden's Eggnog. I love eggnog very much. I don't like it with liquor. I tried it once. It tastes weird to me. I'm not a drinker, but as I said, I love eggnog, but it's very fattening, and thank goodness it's only once a year to drink it. So I don't have it in my house because no one else in my house drinks it except me. So you can get it at Starbucks. You know, they have eggnog flavor coffee, which is fine. As for Borden's, I think they're still in business. I think I've seen a few items on sale on Amazon. I could be wrong. But in the old days, people bought their eggnog at A&P, or they buy it at Dean's Foods, what's still around. And there was also Wanzer's and Hawthorne Melody, dairy companies, and Bowman Dairy. Excuse me, I forgot about them. And but the best way to make eggnog is homemade. That takes a lot of time, but if you have a big party, you can serve it, and everyone will enjoy it, with or without liquor. Okay. As I said at the top of the program, I will discuss Christmas windows display at department stores and also the death of Michael Nesmith from the Monkees, and I will talk about him and my memories of the show. And right now we'll talk about Christmas window displays at the department stores in Chicago. On my Facebook group, Vanished Chicagoland, I posted a poll, and I entered all the choices and said which store had the best Christmas displays on the window when you went downtown or in the suburbs, anywhere. The choices I put were Marshall Field's, Weebles, Carson Perry Scott, Sears, and let's see, I can't think of the other ones on top of my head, but overall, the majority of the vote was Marshall Field's. Of course it was, because their windows displays were beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And now it's owned by Macy's. They do have that. it's not the same. I don't know. It's like like a different identity, But thank God the Walnut Room is still there, and they have the Christmas tree. But I wish to go back to Marshall Fields, go back to the old days. I remember. I think my mother took me one time in the '70s to see the window displays. That was only once, and it was beautiful. I really loved that. And also Carson, Pierce Scott, excuse me. I remember seeing those, and Weebles. Also, this Christmas decorations were at Fort City, where I lived in the Ashburn neighborhood for a long time. And I remember Fort City Mall were decorated beautifully Christmas time with all the stores, especially Weebles. Oh, heavenly, which I run a Facebook group called Classic Fort City /Peacock Memories. So if you're on Facebook, you can join. It's a very popular group. And Fort City's still there. Unfortunately, it's not the same. I try not to have people discuss it at the current stage because it gets a little hairy, so I don't want to do that. But the group is about talking about how it used to be when we were growing up. And that's the focal point of the group. And I hope a lot of people agree on that. But you get one bad apple and they start blabbing about, oh, it's terrible, everything's ruined. It's not the same. It's I agree with that. I can't deny that. But that's not what the group is about. So the poll went very well, and the last I looked were about 1,200 votes for Marshall Fields. That's pretty good. And Carson Pierce Scott, they had the village, the Christmas village, probably in the 50s and 60s. That was beautiful. It really is. That's my cover photo on my Vanish Chicagoland page. You can check it out. And a lot of people mention other stores. I remember Woolworths on State Street. I think they had a Christmas decoration. They had Christmas displays just on the windows. So, it was magical back then. Magical. Okay. And that's all for that. Next, we'll talk about Michael Nesmith and the Monkees. Now, everyone found out about his death yesterday. It was unexpected, but expected because he was very sick and because he had quadruple bypass surgery, his heart, about not too long ago. But he was on tour with Mickey Dolenz, but it was a final farewell tour, and that was very sweet, actually bittersweet, And so Mickey Dolenz is the last surviving Monkee. He's the last one. The others have passed away. Davy Jones died in 2012. Peter Tork died in 2019. And that's just it. But when Davy Jones died, that was a shock. Because that came out of the blue. And he was, he's quite popular. And the TV show, I'll tell you, I will discuss memories of that. The first time I saw it, I didn't see when it was aired, because when it aired in 1966, I was 2 or 3 years old, so I was too young. But then the show ended in 1968, and then it went to reruns, and then but it aired on NBC on Channel 5, WMAQ, and then it went into reruns on CBS Saturday mornings on WBBM, and that's where I first saw him. And the funny thing about the show is some of the songs were replaced from the original broadcast. And they replaced songs that, when the Monkees broke up in 1970, there was just Mickey Dolenz and Davy Jones, and they played songs from their albums from the early 70s. That was bizarre. I wish I'd seen that. I remembered it, but that's what I remembered watching the show. And when it was syndicated, at first was syndicated in Channel 32, WFLD, on 70, I'm thinking 76, 77, around there. I remember watching it. It was aired at 5 o'clock. I was excited to see that. And they had the original songs. I know it's edited, but the songs were there. And, I look forward to watching the show when I came home from school. I watched the regular shows. Like I always did the Flintstones, Gilligan's Island, Magilla Gorilla, Speed Racer, Prince Planet. And then the Monkees were on. And then they had the Brady Bunch, too. And then Partridge Family came later. And, I don't know what it was with the shows. They were I was fascinating to watch, and some didn't make sense at all. But the music was great. It's infectious. It's some of the songs that stuck in your head for days. Even though they didn't play their own songs. It was recorded from Voice and Heart, the songwriters. But they did record their own music. The boys were not all musicians, but Michael Nesmit had, he was a songwriter, but he never acted. He never did acting. Neither did Peter Tork. They wrote songs, and but Mickey Dolenz, Davy Jones did some acting. Mickey Dolenz did Circus Boy. That was a 1950s TV show, and David Jones. From England, he did Broadway. He was on the stage. He did a few acting jobs, but he was a marvelous singer. He really was. Mickey Dolenz, he was fine, But as the years went on, the guys did very well, and their albums were popular. Oh my God, they were so popular. These and better than the Beatles, And there's a picture somewhere floating around the internet that they met up with the Beatles. There's the Monkees and the Beatles. I wish they were on the show. That would have been funny if they did that. But I don't know if the Beatles were jealous or didn't like when the Monkees started. Maybe they did, but I think they were fine. They were okay, because they were from England, the Beatles, that is, but on the Monkees, only Davy Jones was. So, interesting enough, when the Beatles performed on the Ed Sullivan Show in February 1964, Davy Jones appeared on the same episode, and he sang a song from the musical Oliver, and he was there. I mean, who knew? That was kind of ironic or weird like that. Anyway, so I enjoyed watching the show and reruns all throughout the years. There are 2 episodes that were my favorites. Well, actually 3, but the third, I'll start with the first one. The first one was called The Devil and Peter Tork. That's where Peter bought a harp at a pawn shop from a man. His name was Zero. Actually, he was the devil. So, and he signed some contract. And when the guys found out about it, they threatened him to take to court, which they did. So they went to hell, I guess. I'm sure it's that. And then Zero called witnesses, character witnesses, I guess. And one was Blackbeard the Pirate. And I don't know, there were 3 of them, but the other one was Attila the Hun. And so Mickey, questioned him. But Attila the Hun spoke Chinese. I think he was Chinese. I don't know what language he spoke. And Mickey was talking gibberish. They're going back and forth. And then Mike said something, and then Attila the Hun said, he sat down. He was scared. And then Mickey asked Mike, well, what did you say to him? And he said, I don't know. That was so funny. But that was a good episode. It really is. And at the end, Peter played the harp. And, the contract was broken, and those guys were sent home free. That was a good episode. I like that. The other one was called The Spy Who Came In From the Cool. The Devil episode, that was from season 2. This is from season 1. And this is the guys were involved with some spy caper, and there was some microfilm, involved, and it was hidden in a pair of maracas that the guys went to a pawn shop, and Davy played those, and he got a hold of it, and the spies were trying to get him. And but the Central Intelligence Service, tried to recruit the Monkees, to help catch these guys, and they did. And there was two scenes that was so funny. One was it was about the Doomsday Bug, and when they showed the bug, it was like a big poster, and then those guys got scared looking at it. And the other scene was they were pretending to be like in spy school, and Mickey was a teacher, and there was an Asian man. His name was either Yakimoto or Utamoto, and then he was like he was big, and when you have Davy Jones, he's so short. And he was trying to take just knock him down. He couldn't, but he was threatening. I love that episode. So there were other classic episodes. There really were, and they did 58 of them. Then the guys did the movie Head. I saw the movie, but it's kind of weird. It's a weird movie. But it had Jack Nicholson, Annette Funicello, somebody else was in it. I can't remember. But I've seen it once, maybe twice. I'd like to see it again because it's a strange movie, but as time went on, it's really good. It really is. It was fascinating to watch that. Okay, and now I'll talk about Michael Nesmith. And, he died at the age of 78. He was born in Houston, December 30th, 1942. I think he had the same birthday as, I don't know, Davy Jones, I guess. I don't remember. I can't think of the top of my head. I could look it up real quickly. Let's see. Yeah, they both had the same birthday. Although Mike Nesmith was he was 3 years older than David. And, he never acted before in the audition for the Monkees, and according to some stories, he was, he caused a lot of friction, a lot of, he was very volatile. Because he wanted to write his own songs, and eventually during the show that happened. And there were one of his songwriting credits was "Different Drum," which became a hit for Linda Ronstadt and the Stone Ponies. It's a very good song. I like that. And then he had a top 40 hit called "Joanne." I never heard that song. Maybe I'll hear it again and download it. And he did. And believe it or not, when the Monkees ended, he went to college part time and studied history. It was very interesting. Now, an interesting fact about him was his mother. His mother was Betty Nesmith, and believe it or not, she was the inventor of liquid paper, which we all know to this day. And she was working at somewhere at an office in Dallas. And she worked at a bank. She was a secretary. And so I don't know how she really invented it, but I don't think by accident. I think she worked on she was working because she did some decorating to painting holiday windows on the bank. And she put some white tempera water-based paint in a bottle, and then she used to correct mistakes with it. And then one thing led to another, and then she began to market calling typewriter correction fluid as mistake out. And then that's what it was first called in 1956. And then it changed to liquid paper. But I'm thinking now a lot of people don't use typewriters anymore. We have computers. And I don't know if some people, I think you can still use liquid paper, but not for typewriting. You can use it for when you handwrite or other writing method. So it's still in the market. And you could buy it. I used that during the 80s when I went to DeVry and I had to type papers, I use a electric typewriter. I remember that one. It was Smith Corona. It was a beautiful one. It was like where you entered in a screen, and then once you update it, it'll print out your paper. First, you have to verify your mistakes. And so she became a millionaire, and then Michael inherited the fortune, and he became a wealthy man, and good for him, did that. And when the Monkees ended, he didn't join Mickey Dolenz and Davy Jones. They continued the Monkees. They recorded songs and all that. But when they had reunions, most of the time Mike did not participate, but he did sometimes. And there was one Monkees TV special, I think 97, 98, and they all reunited for the last time on television. And I watched that, and that was pretty good. That was a lot of fun seeing that. It was like a Monkees episode. When they do all kinds of goofy stuff like that, which is that's pretty interesting. Anyway, Mike Nesmith, besides did recording, he was an executive producer. He for a couple of movies. One I think was Tapeheads, I think, and Repo Man. I remember those. Yeah, I remember that. I never saw the movies. So, and then he did something unique. Called a show called Elephant Parts, and that was I think on MTV. I got to look that up because that was very interesting. And he was interviewed on talk shows in the 80s. I remember one on not with Johnny Carson, with what was that called? David Letterman, and you can find clips of that on YouTube. And he discussed about elephant parts, and. And I remember watching that. That was fascinating. That was fascinating indeed. And it was it started in 1981. I've been right around the time MTV started, and they were I believe they were shown on MTV, and then it became television parts. On Channel 5. It didn't last very long. So, but it was unique for him. He was interesting. It was an interesting series. Very interesting. It was like VH1, pop-up video like that. So the later years he toured with the Monkees. Some of them passed away, some survived. Then the last tour, this was the Farewell Tour with Mickey Dolenz, and I think they stopped performing about maybe a month ago. Could be that. So you can find interviews of him and Mickey on YouTube, and they discuss that, which I watched a couple. It was very fascinating indeed. So, and it's a shame he passed away, because we grew up with him. We grew up with the Monkees. We watched the TV show in the 60s and on reruns, and they're still going on. It's on MeTV. I bought this series on DVD about maybe 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. I still have them. They're enjoyable. They're uncut, and right now they have a Blu-ray available, but it's very expensive. Very expensive. I don't know if you can still order it because it was limited to some copies. I don't know how many, maybe 2,000 or so. But I do see it on eBay, and they ask a lot. And according to some people, it looks gorgeous. It really does when you watch on TV. But I think there are a couple things are cut, or maybe not. I don't know. Or some special features that were included in the DVD, the regular DVD, but not in the Blu-ray. So I might buy it someday. We'll see. I don't know if I cough up some cash. All right. So, and then, we're condolences to Mike Nesmith and his family, and, we'll still, the program is still there. He's still there on TV. You can watch him anytime, on your DVD or catch the reruns. The Monkees are still there, and they're very appealing, and younger people love it too. Their music is wonderful. I love their music. They have classics, and they play on the radio all the time. Also, I have it on my Apple Music. I listen to that. And one of the favorite songs I like is a Christmas song they recorded. It was on one of the episodes, and it's called Ryuchi. I can't pronounce that word. It was a Christmas Carol, and the Monkees performed it on one of their episodes. It's a classic, and it's Spanish. It's from Spain, and it's very old, But it's but the way they sang it, it was. Because I think there was no music accompaniment, there's no that, so they sang it alone, no music, and it's a wonderful Christmas Carol. I love that. I love the Christmas episode too. It's a classic. They featured Butch Patrick from the Munsters, and he played a real spoiled, rotten kid. It's interesting. You have Eddie Munsters and the Munsters. Good combo. Okay, that'll be all for today. For episode 86, season 4, for Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, I discuss Christmas window displays at department stores in Chicago. Also, Mike Nesmith of his death and memories of the Monkees. I'm glad you could join me. Thank you for listening. I might do a podcast episode tomorrow. We'll see. First, I have to think about what I'll talk about. Or if not, then it'll be Tuesday. That would be episode 87. Okay. Thank you for joining me, and bye-bye for now. And here's Ray Rayner saying bye-bye for now, everybody. Take care, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.